I may be wrong, but I think it's some meme with Magnath. Oh, that would make sense. That would make sense. There you go. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Safe Zone, we have the blue Zerg player representing Clan Leslox. It is RARKA. I'm so concerned I'm like pronouncing it wrong. And spawning in the top left hand corner of Safe Zone, we have his opponent, the Finnish Zerg player representing Berserker Esports. It is Mixu. We're going for a 12-11. Oh, actually, it was sorry. I think this was a 13-12. Never mind. 13-12 here from RARKA, which means we need to appreciate this map as quickly as possible. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. So, unlike some of the other maps, we do not have a Reaper Cliff into the main base at all. Oh my god. Wait, what am I looking at right now? This is crazy. There's not a Reaper Cliff into the main, there's no Reaper Cliff into the natural either. There's only one way in. This is actually a nightmare. This is crazy. Likewise, the main base itself is relatively small. And I wonder, can Stalkers even jump over this? Can they go from the triangular third to the main even? Maybe just barely. Maybe they do have that distance. I'm not entirely sure about that, but this is one of the most isolated mains I've seen in a long time. We didn't even see this last week in the other new maps. This is crazy. On top of that, not just the fact that the main has no Reaper Cliff, at least from, you know, out in the open, we also have another tower. Another tower to knock down at the natural as well, and this is crazy. This is such a secure two bases. As we do have the 13-12, and the game may not last too long, but regardless, this is wild. Oh my god. Lings, they do slip on in. Of course, Mixu was able to confirm the opener and is going to be reacting with a faster Baneling Nest, going to be delaying Ling's speed. Was a hatch gas pool opener. The hatchery has finished, but because it's a 13-12, Mixu can afford to lose the hatchery. Like, the hatchery isn't the biggest of deals. RARKA is giga all in. RARKA has to end the game, has to do more damage than just killing a hatchery. Meanwhile, Mixu is going to be able to trade with this. Is going to be able to dance with this. The boys are being pulled as well. Oh, I don't think this is the wisest move. I think Mixu may think it's a 12 pull because the Banelings are here. Up. The Banelings have arrived. We do have a queen on the low ground, a queen on the high ground as well. The Banelings are trying to get into the mineral line. Up. Oh no! Oh, but the mineral walking is insane, and in the end, the Banelings do detonate, but they do not connect with the drones. Only 3 workers going down. The Spine Crawler in the main does finish. Decent target firing towards the end. 5 drones go down in total. But Mixu holds on to their natural, has a worker lead, has the Baneling Nest at least, and a Spine Crawler. Mixu has held. Back at home, RARKA is going to attempt to transition. Is going to be slightly behind in the economy, is going to be behind in the production as well, but can go for a follow-up all-in. As we have more Lings zooming across the map. Ooh, but that was obviously a pretty intense hold. I was really concerned for the drones of Mixu. So many of them got so low. If one more Baneling had detonated, or if maybe we had a couple more Lings to focus fire, then that could have been gamed. Meanwhile, the Lings of RARKA have arrived to the natural base. Ooh. The Baneling does get targeted down, and Mixu should be able to hold now that the Spine Crawler has gone down to the low ground. We've got our queens as well. We've got plenty of Ling Bane. And we will defend on. A little bit of miscontrol towards the end there, and we do have another Baneling being morphed in from RARKA, but behind this, he is droning. We are transitioning. And now, we can take a moment to appreciate some more aspects of the map. Same time, Mixu is Finland? Yes. Mixu is the Finnish Zerg player. Oh, so, again, this main base and the natural, already crazy. There's not much dead space behind the main either. We have quite a little bit here towards the triangular 4th base, I suppose. Meanwhile, It doesn't feel like there are too many expansion options either. Obviously, we have our natural, and then we immediately have our third base as well. It's not like we're ever going to take the triangular third ever in this situation just because of the map layout itself. So not too many options, unfortunately. The rushes in Spy Ground is actually quite short as well. This is very reminiscent of Dragon Scales, for example, or even Near. Oh, this looks a little bit bigger than Near Humanity, but very short rush distance, which I guess is kind of why we have such a defensible natural, which is still crazy, by the way. And the thing that I'm really concerned about, especially because of this terrain setup as well, it looks like there isn't enough room for a tank here, but I believe you can set up tanks regardless at this triangular third. Oh, hey, look, there's Solid Snake. You'll see it. But you can set it up here, and it will be in range to support the army on the other side of this terrain, I believe, or at least here on the left-hand side as well. So pretty interesting overall. We do see RARKA setting up for 2-base Lair. We are taking our gases. We're going to be going 2-base Muta. Spire is on the way. Before that happens, Mixu is rocking up and is going to be able to overwhelm all of these Lings. Is going to be able to get the Queen as well and get a full scout. Here we go, the Lings, they are threatening. The boys are being pulled into Banelings. Ah, RARKA, por favor. Not like this, as this is getting out of hand. The Lings were not ready. The Spire has been spotted. The Banelings roll into into the main base, but they do not get into the mineral line. They will go down. Oh, thankfully, we don't lose too many workers, as we have another Solid Snake here at the natural base. RARKA will defend, but the Spire has been spotted. Meanwhile, some other features of the map, we do have a couple more rocks here in the middle. Once again, we have Zelnaga towers, but we have, I don't think they're destructible. Yeah. We have some Zelnaga towers in the center as well. We do force a cancel here on the third base. Oh, nice around here on the Queens. And both Queens will fall. RARKA himself doing some nice counter damage here, going for a risky move. Does cancel both of those morphing in Banelings. But with the arrival of these roaches, Mixu does hold. And now the pressure is on Mixu. We mentioned it earlier, mutas are now on the way. Mixu is aware of this, does have roaches, but doesn't have roach speed. Despite the fact that this is a short rush distance by ground, Mixu isn't going to be able to push out across the map. Oh, but it's okay. Who needs roach speed when we have a Nidus instead? How many Queens are we working with? Unfortunately, we did lose 2 of them. Mixu, yeah, only just now replacing and rebuilding those Queens. Oh my god. The layout here is so interesting. It's so cool. This map is so quirky. It's uncomfortable. I don't like it. This is actually wild. The mutas have arrived. I should say that I think I would probably veto this map. But the mutas have arrived. They're getting in between the bases as well. Looks like one Queen is going to be going down. But we have the Nidus into the main. And despite the fact that the main isn't too large, RARKA doesn't see it. Oh, but he does see the Nidus in the natural instead. I believe only one Queen went down. And Nidus will complete. And do we have anything back at home to defend? The answer is no. There's nothing at home. The roaches flood on in. The Queens arrive as well. We can even bring some drones to throw down some spore crawlers. Speaking of spores, we have them set up back at home. But we do see we're trying to focus on the Nidus. Can we get the Nidus? Up. No, we won't even get the Nidus. The Queens go down. The main base is forfeit. And RARKA is knocked down to only one mining base. Has plenty of mutas, but that isn't going to be enough to stop all this damage. The lair will go down. Can we blink? I believe the space here in between the third and the natural is a little bit more narrow. I think we can blink in between these two places. I'm just so entranced by like this narrow gap here in between the bases. Oh my god. As the roaches do kind of waddle down to the low ground, gonna be able to pick off a couple more drones. RARKA is stuck on one base economy. Can we quickly appreciate some of the other features here? Pretty interesting, like, base positions as well. Just straight up linear bases towards the top and bottom side of the map. Something you don't see too often either. Oh, we even have some goal bases that we kind of missed out on. 6 mineral patches, rich Vespene gas as well. But this is so in the open. It doesn't even look like there should be a base here, right? Like, you can envision this area with with it just being a pathway. It is so wide open, which makes sense because it's both rich gold and rich gas as well. So very vulnerable. Also within range of the Xel'Naga as well, which I do appreciate. You know, high risk, high reward sort of thing. But this is like very high risk. You even have the high ground here as well that you can take advantage of to harass the base itself. So there are so many things working against the gold, which I appreciate. Oh, which I do appreciate. Meanwhile, we even have a blimp out here. The noodles, the nuke noodles, the ramen. we saw that same asset on one of the other maps last week as well. You love to see it. But the mutas at least have map control. We see RARKA trying to retake control of his main base. Back across the map though, Mixu has been able to take his third. Again, this third is once again pretty defensible as well. We have a ramp leading into it. There's only kind of one directional way in to said third base. So now going to be working towards the fourth. And likewise, just like how I think that unfortunately for this map there's no option for multiple thirds, there's only one to be taken. Likewise, I feel like this is the only fourth to be taken as well. I don't know, expanding southwards towards this base here seems really awkward, just because we have three massive ramps coming into it, multiple kind of ways of attack, and we have this kind of massive area in between the bases as well. Like, it feels very risky. It doesn't feel very safe. So again, the expansion pattern here from Mixu makes plenty of sense. Does make sense as RARKA is attempting to come back into this. Rotating between the bases, but as all this has been happening, you know, Mixu is now up to now it's up to Hydras. We have Infestors for Fungals as well. Speaking of the Hydras, they come in from behind. Oh my god. Completely out-positioning these mutas, which doesn't happen too often, and RARKA does lose a massive chunk of them. 12 mutas already going down this game. I believe 6 of them died earlier as they were trying to focus down that Nidus. Meanwhile, the Infestors have been slowly gathering energy. They were spawned in without pathogen glands, so it takes a while for them to be topped up, but they are finally here. And with these Infestors, finally we can be more active on the map. We can shut down not just the mutas, but also the Lings. As Mixu's going to start a step forward, we have the Fogel as well. Every single muta is going to be going down. GG gets called, and Mixu will take the first game against RARKA. GG. And as Mixu takes the first game, massive shout out to Baby Links in the chat. Thank you so much for the raid. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. Yeah, for those that are just hope you had a great ladder session. Hope you had a great stream. For those that are just tuning in, we are casting from replays a very different tournament, a tournament that is featuring the new maps in the Team Liquid map contest. We did already cast one of these events last week, but this week, brand new set of maps. There are so many new maps, and basically we're trying to showcase and feature as many of them as possible. And I do think the name of this map was quite fitting. The name of that map was Safe Zone. And yeah, it was just a layout that we haven't seen in a very long time. Again, no Reaper clip into the main, insanely defensible natural, and third. But now we're going to be getting into game número 2. Just catching up in the chat, and here we go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Gambit site, we have the blue Zerg player representing Clan Leslox. It is RARKA. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Gambit's site, we have... Oh my god. What? We have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player representing Berserker Esports. It is Mixu. And there's a lot happening here. This is wild. Okay. So we have destructible towers once again here in the main base. But it looks like the towers open an area up. I don't know if you can see here, but there's like this patch of land in between all these bases where you that is somewhere that you can drop, that you can be. I'm really curious what these towers do. Do they knock down the wall? Do they like open these this pathway up? Like these are ramps going up into them. That's so interesting. We haven't seen this in a long time. The last time we saw maps like this, it was in the StarCraft Clan Wars, where we had kind of these gadgets where we would have, for example, bridges that would be activated if you knock down some towers, for example, or turrets that you can control if you are within range of them, as we have hatch gas spool openers from both players. So standard openers, you love to see it, but like this is really intriguing. I could be mistaken as well. These three things, are they switches? Is that what they are? Because they're accentuated in the minimap. I don't know. There's a lot happening here. There's a lot happening and I don't know what it is. But I want to see the players try and figure it out. I'm just gonna try and take this moment as well to take the map in, as we even have like a pseudo island base here on the left hand side as well, walled off by these rocks and by this potential opening. Again, it feels like this can open, maybe. It doesn't feel like a normal wall. But yeah, pseudo island base, you love to see it. Potentially you can take advantage of this as a Terran player by floating your main over. Meanwhile, once again, we do have our third bases being taken as well. Linear thirds. There is no triangular third, which is crazy. We have a very exposed base here in the middle of the map, but there's no way we ever take this as our third. Just because there are just so many attack paths into it. Feels so exposed. I guess if we want to go for an all-in, if we like, the rush distance by ground is very short as well. So if we wanted to go like full neo-humanity and go for like a queen, like Ling Roach all-in to spread creep and set up a highway, maybe we take the forward base. But yeah, it is looking really interesting, especially with the thin wall behind it. Meanwhile, as we take this in a little bit further, because of that thin wall, this area outside the natural as well, unfortunately there's no ramp here at the natural, so it's looking a little bit exposed. And I also just realized that there is no Reaper cliff either into the main. This is the second map so far where there is just no way for a Reaper to get into the main base other than coming from the natural, of course. Meanwhile, we do see RARKA going for a Link Flood. God damn it. RARKA has cut workers at 16, is going for a massive Ling Bane all-in. He doesn't want us to appreciate the map, Boppy. The Banelings are rolling on forward, but the connections from Mixu are just too damn good. RARKA hasn't made a worker at all, basically, almost this entire game. Has a third hatchery, but only for larva, despite the hatchcat spool opener. And RARKA is just sending everything across the map. I just want to see what happens when you knock down these rocks, these towers. Maybe next time, as Mixu's going to be going for a counterattack. Took a beautiful trade, has an insane economy behind this, especially compared to what RARKA has. We have a couple of defensive banelings on the way, but they just are not ready. Banelings are targeted down. RARKA just kind of panicking here in the defense. And these we have a transfuse on the morphing baneling, but it's not going to be enough. RARKA was all in with his attack and it kind of fell in its face. With that, Mixu has a massive advantage, gets into the mineral line, and is looking to take the series here. The banelings, oh no! They find the drones as well. GG gets called, and Mixu takes the series 2-0. Good luck in the next round. GG. Oh, GG, well played. That was such a quirky map. Unfortunately, we had a bit of a rush there, so we didn't really get to see too many of the features. I say that. I mean, that was a very short rush to this map, so in a way, features were taken advantage of. Oh my god. Okay, I figured it out. Hold on, I'll see if the chat figured it out. Classroom replays, yes. Hello, Night Phoenix, hello. So I'm looking at the mini map right now. It looks like those rocks, the tower, you knock the tower down and it actually destroys all three walls. All three walls get destroyed. But because they get replaced by rocks, so the tower just turns into a pile of rubble. It destroys the walls, and then you destroy the rubble, and then you open up the map into that that kind of pseudo island base, and you open it up into all those other attack paths as well. So interesting. Yeah, destructible walls, not something you see too often. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see it come into play that game either. But an interesting concept that we haven't seen in a while. It's been a while. It's kind of taking the concept that we currently have on Altitude. We were talking about it on one of the previous maps that was pretty similar, where right now we do have rocks that get knocked down and they destroy Zelnaga towers. Here, rocks get knocked down and they destroy walls. It's crazy. GG, well played. And with that, Mixu takes the 2-0 and moves on to the next round to face his next opponent, this time a Terran player. Oh, here we go. It is going to be Mixu versus Nicaract. Oh. And we have seen this map before. Let's go. I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate it when we see more of the same maps because we just get to have a little bit more experience with it. We allow it to sink in. It's safe zone.